Hello everybody. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about some things today regarding these funny things. I told you I'd get to them, and I'm going to get to them today. One thing that I wanted to make sure that you understood is that with any lure, you have the ability to put tape on these blades here. Unfortunately, these blades are very customized shape, especially for the French blades. And so, in order to get tape on them, there's several ways we can do this. For me, I have found the best way to do this is to use what we call punches. And you know, if your wife is into scrapbooking or you're into scrapbooking, you're very familiar with these are. If you look at the back of these, what these are basically the ability to punch a hole in paper or whatever material you have there. What's nice is that so let's say, for instance, I have a piece of tape. This is actually holographic tape that I have bought in bulk, and I want to get them on some of these lures. Now these things are various sizes. This one here is a 1 inch, 3/4 inch, 1/2 inch, I believe. Yeah, 1/2 inch. You can see how that works. And then these are all various shapes and sizes that I would imagine using. So if I take this plastic portion out, you can see what how it cuts it and the shape that it works, or the shape that it creates. So in order to cut this, basically you put in the paper here and then push the lever down to make the shape, and it pops out the shape on this end, just like a punch, only it's a little bit more fancy. A lot of these, and I will tell you that these ones here, these punch bunch items here are great, but the amount of leverage that you have to push on this to get the punch to get through the material is, unfortunately, it's kind of a pain, and so you almost have to really just kind of slam down on it in order to get a clean cut. Which is good in some ways, but to me it's bad. What you want are these lever type punches. And the reason why is because you're using the lever to actually punch through on these. So let's go ahead and take a start on this, and let's go ahead and make some shapes. So the first one is, so I'm going to try and do some larger shapes for this. I'm going to do some brass and some silver blades. I'm going to put the same piece of material on the blades. These have an adhesive backing. One of the things that I get asked a lot is, so Fred, you have some pretty cool tape. Where do you get it? That's actually a pretty big secret of mine, but I'm not going to hold it to myself anymore. What I love about this is it's the same material that you would buy, say, lure tape. So this is kind of the official type of tape. This is cut in a shape that would probably fit a flasher, and so you could, probably cut this into the exact same size as a big flasher, and it would change the color of the flasher. As you can see, I've actually cut out some shapes out of it. Works really good. This stuff is really cool because it's not only holographic, but it's UV. So depending on the light, it will change color, it will change hue, and all of that. I will tell you, the place that I get this, you'll be surprised, is Hoopology. What's hoopology, you think? Hoopology is basically hula hoop tape. It's a big industry. It uses the exact same materials, only the selection is so much better. And they give you these rolls of 1-inch cut tape. And I've got some of these bigger rolls, I've got 150 feet of it. That's going to do me forever. Versus this is only maybe 2 pieces of 3x6 or 3x8 tape. No offense to lure tape, but this is great tape, and you can see that it's great. It has the same backing on it, same material on the front. The only problem is that for $4 I get this, or $3 I get this and this, versus $12 I get 150 feet. You heard it here first. Anyway, if you go to Hoopology, they have an incredible selection of tape. Of course it's for hula hoops, but I'm sure they would cater to you as well. Just tell them Fred sent you, Fred of Westside Tackle, and they'll take care of you. Alright, back to where we were. So I've got this piece of cool looking tape. If I'm going to cut this tape so that it fits on one of these lures, so if you look at the lure, it pretty much fits on this 1-inch tape. Pretty, almost exact. It's kind of cool. Which is why I buy the 1-inch tape. This is a 1-inch oval cut. You can get these die cut already, and you can buy them on various places on the web. I would say that eBay has a ton of sites where they have these pre-cut. I'm going to recommend WTP because those guys have an amazing selection. I've got a catalog from them, and they'll be able to help you out as far as your needs as well. And they can cut it to any shape. So I'm just using French blades here. They will cut it for Colorado blades, willow leaf blades, all of those blades, so that you're taken care of. And they'll not only have different types of, their catalog is basically a catalog of these different types of different shades, different UV colors, it's incredible what they have. But if you can go to a dealer, say Sportsman's Warehouse, to get tape from WTP, or Cabela's to get tape from WTP, I recommend doing that. They'll give you enough so that you can make quite a few of your own. So, the only problem is that now that we're going to go ahead and start punching, so this works in this fashion. Does that make sense? But obviously, the punch interface is way larger than the tape itself. So I usually turn it upside down and eyeball it in. And that looks about good. And then I use the lever to punch out the oval shape. What's nice about this is, for the most part, it fits on these. I need to make some slight adjustments on there, but it's almost an exact copy of what needs to go on these. You can see that I can probably trim off just a little bit on each side and then go from there. So just a sliver. That. Good pair of scissors is always good. You'll have these hanging pieces that come off, and again, you're trying to cut plastic and adhesive and the backing using this, and so sometimes the plastic tends to hold on for dear life, and so you have to trim those off. But with these two pieces taken off, I think that's going to fit exactly. Alright, so now to get the backing off. And there's various ways to do this. I love the way that Dave's Spinner Dave does this, where he actually takes a piece of masking tape, puts it on here, peels it off with the masking tape, and then he uses it to place it. For me, because it's already cut, and the backing is basically the same shape as the cutout, I'll take a razor blade, because the last thing you want to do is fold this over or fold this over so it has kind of a lip on it. So the reason why I use a razor blade is because it is really good at peeling away the back. So there you go, I've got the back. Now I've got this on the razor blade, and now I can place this. So let's use one of these silver ones here. And do some test runs. Make sure that's correct. Looks like it's a little back a little. And okay. Looks pretty good. But it's not done yet. And for me, for the items that I sell, what you need to do now is kind of heat set this. And what it does is it helps adhere the adhesive. It heats up the adhesive and it adheres it to the blade. So I'm going to need I'm going to need my really old pair of hemostats. So I'm going to pause the video. Let me go ahead and get the heat gun ready. Alright, let that warm up for a little bit. And then you don't want to hold this over too much. If you can see the edges, they're not adhering correct or quite right, so we want to get that down as well as everything else. So the problem is if you hold it over the heat too long, what will happen is the UV portion of the plastic, the foil will still stay there, but the UV portion of the plastic will change, and so you won't get the UV effect. So just one or two just to heat the blade. Okay. So, and the other purpose of this razor blade is you can see that there's kind of an offset up here. I didn't catch it all with the cut. So what I do sometimes is I will come over it with the razor blade like this. You can use an X-Acto knife. Probably better to use an X-Acto knife, but for me, I'm old school. I really like just using the old razor blade. And then what I want to do is just lift off the piece that I cut. Not real clean, but clean enough. Ooh. Something going on there. There we go. The other thing you can do to adhere it is to actually use another spinning blade and then use the bubbled edge to kind of push it down. It's not perfect, but she'll work for me. Alright, so now that we've got the spinner blade, so I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and then I will catch up with you here in just a minute. Okay, there we go. Ain't they pretty? Some of them might have maybe a little bit off, but you know what? From where I come from, that looks pretty good. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to use these for my spinners. And I wanted to show you a example of what some of these other punches do. So let's do the old circle. Okay, there we go. Dropped it. Looks like there's some goobers on that one. Let's do another one. Maybe from this side. So what you have is just a perfectly round circle. I might just check that one. Okay. Let's try this one. I really like this one because it's not exactly. By the way, I can't tell you the worth of a good pair of self-sharpening scissors. You want some great scissors? Go to a fly tying shop. They'll have great ones, especially these Dr. Slick ones. These are just the plain old multi-purpose. You don't need the really tiny, teeny ones. I mean, this one's maybe 15 bucks. 15. You can probably find them for less. But these are worth their weight in gold as far as getting precise cuts on your lure tape. So I'm going to cut this off. And then let's try this guy. Try it backwards this time. So as you can see, it's kind of limitless what you can do. So let's try this one. Now this one's kind of cool because it's not necessarily all of everything together. What it is that you can cut multiple different shapes from the same cut. So if I This one's going to be harder. There we go. So I got multiple shapes. I got these shapes came out. And they're not perfectly round, but as you can see, you can make some pretty cool tape items from it. I got it or you can use the inverse. So now I'll come in with like a bigger one, like say this guy. Take that out. See what I mean? Isn't that cool? So now I can that one goobered. Beef right here. And so these plastic closures allow you to keep your pieces just like that. And I can use these for bodies, for whatnot, because each one has its individual adhesive tape on the back. Pretty cool. But what I wanted to do was to get this cut correctly. So I'm going to do this side this time. Do it quick. There we go. So now I've got a pretty cool thing to put on a blade. I wouldn't layer on too many items on a blade, but you can get pretty creative as far as that is concerned. If you're going to layer on some things on a blade, either heat set them like I have right here, or what you can do is you can dip these in KBS, diamond clear. Just take these with the wire and just dip them in. That way it seals everything, keeps your finish, but it puts that little bit of a coating on there so that it shouldn't affect the action of the lure. But what it does, it prevents peeling from the tape, especially when you get something as intricate as that. Anyway, hopefully that was helpful. I'm going to show you as I go some of the things that I've done. So here's the pink one. These are the blue ones. And here's a whole bunch of different things for green. I'm going to go ahead and put these into a little cup and then go from there. The other thing I wanted to just review is just, look around. I found this from a hula hoop tape shop, and they make incredible, these go around the hula hoops, but it's the same material as these, only you get a whole lot more for less. Anyway, this is Fred signing off for the AfterWork Fisherman. Please don't get the corona. And if you're waiting and you're sitting in your house looking for something to do, try this out. Every one of these came mail order, and along with the tape and these blades. Blades, the beads, everything came mail order. So you should be able to pick them up at the front door and be able to do the needful in order to create your perfect spinner blade. Again, the ones that I make, I sell on Westside Tackle, and you can go there and see the latest and greatest creations, and I will gladly be able to send them to you. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you later.